Okay, so I was just in the middle of editing some mini sessions from last weekend, and once I used this Photoshop beta feature for the second time, it occurred to me that it would make for a good video. For anybody who doesn't know this feature, it saved 2 of my images that I'm very happy with. So I want to show you guys what I did. Okay, so here we are looking at my Lightroom catalog, and I already have pre-selected the 2 images that we're going to use for this tool. So as you can see, this is crooked. I need to fix the horizon line. Now they are walking up a hill, so the horizon isn't going to be perfectly even, but let me show you this other one too. This one's really bad. So quickly, let me explain. When I shoot my mini sessions, I shoot incredibly fast. So sometimes when I'm going from portrait to landscape and I'm turning my camera, I mean, I'm still clicking. And then sometimes I catch a shot like this where I'm like, oh, I can't rotate it. So let me show you. If I select the crop or rotate in Lightroom and I straighten everything out, I lose all of this atmosphere around them, all of the grass, all of the sky. And you can see in the preview over here, it's not terrible that way, but in this instance, I would like to keep as much as I possibly can. I'm gonna hit reset. So then we're gonna go to Photo, Edit In, and we're gonna edit in Photoshop Beta. It's gonna take just a second to open up, but I'm assuming this will just be a regular feature in Photoshop, but currently it's still in beta. So you can see when because I've just used this, when Photoshop opens, it already has my crop tool selected right here. Normally it will have this background default selected. If you can see this drop down right here. So normally if you select the crop tool in Photoshop and you do the same thing, it's going to do exactly what Lightroom did. You're going to lose everything what you rotated around. So I'm going to hit cancel. And you have 2 options here. There's generative expand and there's content aware fill. Let me start with content aware fill and show you how that works. So same thing, I'm gonna start to rotate it. And as you can see, it starts to expand. I'm just gonna get the image kind of how I want it. So they're upright, okay? So you can see just like the white corners that it's left. I'm gonna click the check mark. And then AI is going to kind of think about it for a second, and then it's going to fill in those corners for me, which is awesome. Now, let me undo that. I'm going to undo content aware crop. Now, the other option, let me make sure crop is selected. Now I'm going to go to generative expand. And what this is going to do, it's going to fully expand it. You're going to lose your crop ratio. But here, let me just go ahead. It's going to keep going, keep going, keep going. And what's great about this is you're going to get several options. The AI is going to think about it. It's going to give you a couple different selections. You can see over here, it's generating 3 different previews for us. So it might take just a second. Okay, there we go. How cool is that? Let me zoom out. Okay, so now you can see the crop looks like a square. So I am gonna have to crop this, or I could just continue to expand the sky if I want to. But first, let's take a look at these 3 options. This is option number 1. Option number 2, equally as good. And option number 3. I feel like option number 3, it kind of adds like another hill back here. And then option number 1, there's a little bit of a hill too. Let's see. Oh gosh, which one do I want to keep? I like the first one. Let's keep the first one. Okay, so what I would normally do is, since I've selected that, I'm going to select both my layers over here. if you're kind of new to Photoshop, I just hit Shift and then selected the background layer as well. And then I'm gonna hit Command E. And as you can see, it collapsed those two layers into one layer. Now we're gonna try this again. I'm gonna get the crop tool, and instead of rotating it, I'm going to bring this up to there and hit the check mark. And it should just expand the sky, but we'll see what it does. And this isn't necessarily, oh wow, see, and it's pretty dark up there. Looks like all of them are pretty similar. This isn't necessarily what I would choose for my final image, but I'm just showing you what the capabilities here are with the cropping tool. Let's go ahead. I'll just save that as is. I am gonna collapse these layers, which isn't necessary, but so we're gonna hit save, and it's going to save it into my Lightroom back over here. Give it just a second. And there we go. And so now, let's see. Let's just compare these two. Look at the difference. That is the same image. This one has just been altered in Photoshop. Again, I would have spent more time on it in Photoshop. I would have lightened up those skies because now it almost looks like nighttime up there, which isn't accurate. Yeah, I might have fixed a few other things, but as far as like, you know, rotating it and getting my horizon line back, but not losing any of the image, there you go. And let me do one more. This one isn't as extreme as the other one, but let's do photo, edit in Adobe Photoshop Beta. Again, it's gonna take just a second. Okay, same thing. Let's keep it on generative expand. I'm just gonna barely rotate. I think that looks good. Again, they're going up a hill, so it's not gonna be a perfectly straight horizon. I would pause, but the second I pause, it'll finish. Okay, here we go. And then again, it gives us three options. Let's look at the three different options. We have option 1, option 2, and option 3. And I think they're all pretty similar and all work just fine. So I could either extend the sky if I wanted to, or I can just bring the crop back in to kind of maintain some of the ratio of what it was. Hit the check mark. And then again, I normally combine the layers, but I'm not going to this time because you can just hit file to save and it's automatically going to save the TIFF file back in Lightroom. So let me bring this one here so you can see the difference. Open here in just a second. Okay, so you can see the difference. This one isn't as drastic, but there you go. So hopefully this was helpful. There are so many cool features in Photoshop right now, especially in beta, with you know, the AI, all the generative fill, and prompting it to do stuff. So I can do more videos about that, but I thought this little tip would be helpful for anybody needing to extend their image. Anyway, happy Photoshopping.